Senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
All right, thank you for clicking on the thumbnail. It's Noel here, hanging out with Nate.
What's up? This is Nate Dogs, not Don.
All right, in this video, we're gonna talk about a little bit more about what happened January 6th. Now, this is something that happened 2 years ago, and unfortunately, we're still talking about it. Because, as you guys know, over the last 2 years, they even had a TV show talking about what happened on January 6th, but they never released the footage, the video. And they finally gave the video to Tucker Carlson. And a lot of people don't like him, you know what I mean? Because he shoots for the Republican side. And I personally believe that when it comes to politics, it's not about Republicans and Democrats. I think that is what works best for you. You know what the politicians are doing for you. And
for you in America.
And the truth is hard to accept. So let's take a look at what video footage Tucker Carlson got, and then we'll make a better decision. Instead of making a decision on the comments, we could see, we're adults, we could look at the footage and say whether it's true or not. So stop treating us like children and let us make a decision based on what we can see with our own eyes. Now,
exactly.
All right?
That's right.
Because people are saying this is the truth or that's the truth. Well, let's take a look at the video. I think we should demand to see more so then we can make a decision. So, let's take a look.
Within hours of January 6th, literally hours, you began to hear that day described as a deadly insurrection, and not described by one news outlet or one politician, but in unison by all of them.
And that's another thing. The mainstream media is like the mouthpiece or the voice that sends out the message for the Democratic Party. So we're stuck listening to them, which is all of the media, whose job should be to hold politicians accountable, to say that whether they're right or wrong, and really do a good job holding politicians accountable. But they really dropped the ball here. And Tucker Carlson is pointing that out.
Let's see. I want to see this. I want to see this video.
A deadly insurrection.
And it wasn't.
That's how history may record January 6th.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
But the tape that we reviewed from within the building on that day proves it was neither an insurrection nor deadly.
Wait, before I play the video, your name, what's your take on this? What do you know about January 6th?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It was, they already planned it. They chose the date, January 6th. And if you notice, Donald Trump and the rest of the gang, I'm a Trump supporter, you know? But I believe that the media cherry-picked where the narrative is going to go. They knew what was going to go. They knew what was going to happen. They knew that this was our plan. No police presence. If you notice as well, the media only covers certain angle. Where's the camera from inside? Where's the camera from all these politicians leaving the building? And they all together, man. They all in the same boat. So they knew this shit was gonna happen. That's my input.
Right. So it sounded like it was a planned activity, I should say.
To distract us from the bigger picture.
All right, so let's take a look and see if it changes my mind or your mind, and let us know. Here we go.
It is.
January 6th, when an estimated 2,000 rioters breached the Capitol building, causing the deaths of 5 police officers.
Certain dates echo throughout history. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th.
The mob beat officers with anything they had on them. Hockey stick, flagpole, a fire extinguisher. Police officers died.
Donald Trump supporters who, of course, rioted and killed police officers.
By the evening of January 6th, the Democratic Party and its publicists in the national news media had settled on a description of what had happened that day. They distilled an enormous number of highly complex events that even now we don't fully understand, into a single emotionally elated political slogan which they've repeated for years with remarkable discipline. January 6th, they said, was a deadly insurrection.
There was a deadly insurrection that the right wing is trying to cover up.
He incited a deadly insurrection.
Incited a deadly insurrection.
The violent,
You
deadly
see?
insurrection on the Capitol
Everybody.
9 months ago. It was about white
Everybody,
supremacy.
I'm telling you.
A deadly
That was a script.
insurrection.
It was a script
Everything
for them
about
to
that
say
phrase
that.
is a lie. Very little about January 6th was organized or violent. Surveillance video from inside the Capitol shows mostly peaceful chaos. But the slogan worked. The term deadly
Hell yeah, it
carries
works.
enormous emotional power, which is why they used it. To prove the insurrection was deadly, propagandists pointed to the death of an officer called Brian Sicknick. The mob killed Officer Brian Sicknick. That's what they said. It was their single most powerful indictment of the January 6th protesters and of Donald Trump and of Republican voters nationally. They repeated that claim for years. They are still repeating it. At first, they told the country that Officer Sicknick was murdered with a fire extinguisher.
Officer Brian Sicknick died after being hit in the head with a fire extinguisher during the fight.
That story came from the New York Times, which is effectively the assignment
See?
editor for most
The
of
media's
press
controlling
during
the
that
narrative.
media.
How the hell
It
they
was a
know?
lie, untrue in any way.
That's a big
But
problem.
only after that lie had hardened
See?
into
That's a big
conventional
problem.
wisdom did the newspaper bother to retract it.
The New York Times has quietly retracted its story about the death of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick.
The damage had been done.
Mhm.
Brian Sicknick,
The
himself
narrative.
a Trump voter, had been transformed without his consent into a political martyr of the left. His memory was shamelessly exploited by the incoming Biden administration. In February of
There you
2021,
go.
Sicknick's body lay in state in the
The guy
Capitol
voted for
Rotunda,
Trump.
where a parade of unscrupulous
Yeah, he voted for
politicians
Trump.
made use of
Exactly.
it. Here's Joe Biden.
I'm telling you,
Breaking down
man,
the
they
doors.
fucking cherry pick whatever they want.
Trying to
Let me cherry
overturn
pick
an
this
outcome
topic.
of election.
So
Come
that's
on,
the
man, they deal with
narrative.
kids.
Yeah, that's the narrative they try to sell us.
And killing
Yeah,
several
they trying to
police
sell that
officers in
shit,
the
man.
meantime.
And
But Brian Sicknick should not be reduced to a prop for the political ambitions of the Democratic Party. He was a human being. The facts of his life matter, including how he died. To this day, media accounts describe Sicknick as someone who was, quote, slain on January 6th. The video we reviewed proves that is a lie. Here is surveillance footage of Sicknick walking in the Capitol after he was supposedly murdered by the mob outside. By
After.
all
Look at
appearances,
that.
Sicknick
Walking
was healthy and
casually,
vigorous.
like
He's
nothing
wearing a
happened.
helmet, so it's hard to imagine he was killed by a head injury. Whatever happened to
Exactly.
Brian Sicknick was very obviously not the result of violence.
Tucker Carlson dropping truth. If he was murdered, look at that, a dead man walking.
He suffered at the
exactly,
hands of the
that would have helped it.
This tape
Got hit in the
overturns
head.
the single most powerful and politically useful lie the Democrats have told us about January 6th. And it was indeed a lie. The January 6th committee knew perfectly well that Brian Sicknick was walking normally through the Capitol after he was supposedly murdered by Trump supporters. And they know that
Damn,
because
that's
they
a
saw
big
this
cover
tape.
up, bro.
We can be sure because the footage contains an electronic bookmark that is still archived in the Capitol's computer system. That means that investigators working for the Democratic Party reviewed this tape. They saw it,
Exactly.
but they refused to release the tape to the public. Why? Because this tape would shatter the fraud they were perpetrating on the country. Because hiding the truth served their political interest. They lied about the police officer they claimed to revere. If they were willing to do
Damn.
that, then their dishonesty knew no
That
limits.
motherfucker he looked Republican. he looked
I
Yo,
hate
listen,
it. Yeah.
I think all that was orchestrated. All that thing was created to make the American people hide the truth, man. It's like they have a bigger agenda. That January, I'm glad they came out with this video. This is good. I'm glad they did.
And I really hate the fact that politicians try to treat us like children. Like, believe what we say, believe the narrative of what happened, instead of showing the video and saying something about it. You know what I mean? Like, we are grown adults. Let us see what really happened, and then we'll make a decision. But no, they have a narrative to sell. They use the media, they use the big television networks to sell us on their idea, and that's it. They really hated Tucker Carlson bringing this out. They really hated him putting out the truth. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we gotta stop being treated like children, showing us what's up, and stop delivering this narrative that they want us to believe. But,
yeah, you know, you gotta say the truth. And that Capitol, they all knew, Democrats and Republicans knew that was coming. You see, it would have been somebody else, a different. I don't want to make it a race thing, but it would have been other people. Ooh, the whole narrative would have been different.
yeah. But
It would have been a whole different ballgame.
at the end of the day, it's up to us voters to decide what's the truth or not. To me, that video was shocking. A lot was said. But in the comments below, let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel. Is this the truth? Or should we continue? Are you going to continue with the narrative that Trump and his supporters destroyed the Capitol and it was all an insurrection? Please write down your comments below and let us know what you think about the whole ordeal. All right?
Talk to me. Hit the button, subscribe.
All right, see you guys on the next video. And we're going to continue taking a look at the truth or what some believe to be the truth. All right, peace.
Yep.
Please subscribe.
In this man, this world that we live on. Peace.